with the Uncle Productions.
I am Quandale. Keep me a boat, I make sails. Used to be inside of jail.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome. As you know, my name is Brian Stevenson, and I have devoted my life to defending those who have been falsely imprisoned or sentenced to death. Today, we are going to be interviewing some of these people, hearing their stories. What led up to their convictions? How were they treated by the justice system? Find out now. First, let's start with footage of the final moments of Herbert, a veteran who I sadly failed to defend and ended up being executed, despite his being mentally ill and a veteran suffering from PTSD. Hello, guys. So unfortunately, sometimes when I have a client, I'm not always able to save them due to just how corrupt and unjust the system is. One of these unfortunate clients was my dear late friend, Herbert. This is a clip from right before he died.
I can't believe I'm about to die.
I'm sorry, Mr. Richardson. I wish I could have stopped this from happening.
I wish they could have understood me. I served at Nam. I watched countless friends die on the battlefield. I did do what they said I did. I put that bomb on her front porch, but I had no intentions of hurting nobody.
It's time to go, Mr. Richardson.
Here with me, I have my dear friend Henry, the first death row inmate who I ever had the pleasure of meeting with. Here with me, I have my dear friend Henry, the first death row inmate who I ever had the pleasure of meeting with.
It's good to be here.
First, tell us your story.
Well, when I was 17, I committed a crime and was later sentenced to execution. This was, of course, before minors received protections in court. In jail, the guards treated us prisoners terribly. You caught a glimpse of the mistreatment when you came to discuss my case.
Yes, I remember. The guard smirked at us while we spoke, as if taking pleasure in how uncomfortable we were, and your fear of dying.
I remember that day well. Before meeting you, I had been afraid to schedule a call with my family, for fear that I would end up having to tell them about my execution date. But you gave me hope that I would live for at least another year, and gave me the courage to finally contact my wife and kids.
Don't give me all the credit for that day. You also had an impact on me. My passion for justice and my motivation to defend death row inmates was thanks to the experiences I had interning at the Southern Prisoners Defense Committee, especially my meetings with people like you. You gave me the motivation to be the person I am today, and are just as responsible for all the lives that I have saved in my career. Thank you. Our next guest is Marsha Colby.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth.
Hi, Marsha. I'm Brian Stevenson, and I'll be interviewing you today as your story inspired my work. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what happened to you.
8 years ago, I lived in a small trailer with my 6 kids and husband. Hurricane Ivan hit our family directly, and we were left with nothing.
I am sorry to hear that. Why were you put on trial?
I got pregnant, and our family had no money to receive any help from a doctor. I delivered the baby in our trailer, but she was stillborn, and we couldn't save her. Getting the hospital involved would have put us in a load of debt, especially because my husband and I don't have any health care. I was left devastated, and to make matters worse, my goofy, nosy neighbor decided to snitch and call the cops on me. The police found the dead baby and took me into custody. The court allowed an unreliable pathologist to examine my child and declared that the baby could have been saved. Everyone puts the blame on me, calling me a horrible mother, yet cannot understand the situation I was put in.
I agree. Our healthcare system is broken, and I believe your poor status and past drug addictions led the court to have a biased view of your situation and not empathize with the position that you were in. Here we have with us Joe Sullivan, a convict who was put in jail at a young age and had the blame pinned on him for a crime committed by his friends. Despite being young, he was tried as an adult, and his mental and physical growth was stunted due to this. Now let's have him tell us his story.
When I was 13, I made the mistake of letting 2 of my older friends convince me to steal from a house with them. That night, one of my friends had sexually assaulted a sleeping white woman in the house. She had only described the culprit as dark-colored and curly-haired, so my so-called friends ratted me out, and in the end, the entirety of the blame fell on me. I was tried as an adult and sentenced to life without parole.
This is very painful to hear. If I remember correctly, you were in jail 18 years before I met you. I remember how much you regretted your actions, and I also remember how your time in jail affected you mentally and physically. However, you were very excited to see me all the time and always remained happy and were hopeful of the future. Would you mind telling us about the experience you had in prison?
Of course. Unfortunately, this was a very dark time in my life. I was repeatedly assaulted over and over again in prison, to the point where I became suicidal and became wheelchair-bound due to developing multiple sclerosis. I was about to give up when you, my savior, stepped in and challenged my sentence and eventually won the case. Thank you so much. You saved my life.
You helped me grow as a person too. You were convicted for something you didn't do, but stayed strong and kept hope, and were always bursting with excitement whenever I saw you. Your unwavering enthusiasm reminded me to stay optimistic in the saddest of times. Our next guest is Walter McMillan, a man whose case I've been working on for quite some time now. Despite me presenting numerous pieces of evidence to support his innocence, Walter has been placed back on death row and is currently facing the possibility of being executed. So Walter, how are you feeling after your trial?
Not good. We clearly exposed their case, and now I'm going back to death row.
I'm sorry, but you should remain hopeful because you're clearly innocent, and our evidence proves that the police tampered with the evidence in order to frame you.
Yeah, I know I'm innocent, but it worries me because I still believe there's a high chance that I'm going to be killed. I can try to be at peace, but like Malcolm X said, you can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom.
That's very true, Walter. I wish you the best, and we'll meet again soon.
Hey, Quandale Dingle here.